Korea is shifting its economic focus from China to the US amid increasing geopolitical and technological tensions between the two countries. Despite the potential for retaliation, South Korea has decided to reorient its economy toward the US. US offers incentives for production to move away from China. Earlier this year, President Xi Jinping's visit to an LG display factory in Guangzhou conveyed a subtle message that China still welcomes foreign investment. However, this visit could also be interpreted as a caution to South Korean companies considering joining the US-led initiative to decouple its economy from China. South Korean corporations hold significant roles in crucial national security and industry sectors in Washington and Beijing, from semiconductors and electric vehicle batteries to biotechnology and telecommunications. Key South Korean companies such as Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, LG Energy Solutions, SK On, and Samsung SDI are set to receive substantial subsidies from the US during President Joe Biden's administration. The US aims to attract South Korean manufacturing and technological capabilities, while reducing China's involvement in US supply chains. However, in return, these companies must adhere to various restrictions that Washington imposes on their operations in China, as well as their partnerships with Chinese firms, risking potential retaliation from Beijing. We should not view efforts to strengthen ties with the US as a move to ignore China. We have never announced plans to decouple from China, and have no such intention, Finance Minister Chu Kyung-ho told a parliamentary session in May. Nonetheless, economists, current and former trade officials, and South Korean business leaders have all noted that South Korea is shifting away from its economic reliance on China, regardless of Beijing's sentiment. According to the Bank of Korea, 2022 marks the first time since 2004 that South Korea has exported more goods to the US than China. South Korea's Trade Minister An Duk-yoon pointed out that China's arbitrary interference and import substitution policies have led South Korean companies to minimize their exposure to China. For Korean policymakers, the challenge lies in whether leading companies can capitalize on the incentives offered by the subsidy policy to boost production in the US, while mitigating potential repercussions from Beijing. Yo Han-koo, former South Korean trade minister, and now a senior research fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, or PIIE, in the US, said, "The US-China tensions are making people nervous, but they can be a big opportunity for South Korea." A shift in the relationship. South Korea's economic relationship with China transformed with the establishment of full diplomatic relations in 1992. The trade value between the two countries increased from $6 billion to over $300 billion by 2022. However, the friendly relationship soured in 2016 when South Korea purchased the US-made THAAD missile defense system. China responded with an unofficial economic blockade, reducing Chinese tourism to South Korea, boycotting Korean brands, and more. South Korean companies remain reliant on Chinese components, expertise, and raw materials in various industries identified by the US as critical to the nation's economic security. The US has extended certain concessions to South Korean companies to continue collaborating with their Chinese counterparts when no practical alternatives exist. Guidelines have been issued to facilitate South Korean companies producing more battery components domestically, while qualifying for US tax credits. Washington has also indicated its willingness to allow South Korean chipmakers to import American chipmaking tools to their Chinese factories, except for the most advanced ones, helping them maintain their technological edge and buying them time to explore long-term alternatives. Jae Hyun-jung, chief representative of the Korea International Trade Association, or KITA, in Washington, said, "Korea is a small country stuck between big countries. That feeds a permanent sense of crisis, but also creates an impetus to push the country forward."